black holes, studied dying stars, and mapped the very edge of the observable universe. But in doing so, we missed something obvious. Just 4 light-years from Earth lies Alpha Centauri, our closest stellar neighbor, and until now, no one truly looked. Because when a new eye finally opened in space, it wasn't designed to search the familiar. It was built to uncover the impossible. The James Webb Space Telescope changed everything. When it turned its gaze toward the 3 stars of Alpha Centauri, what it found was not expected. Objects orbiting where none should exist. Worlds forming under conditions we believed were impossible. What James Webb discovered is now forcing scientists to rewrite textbooks, to question fundamental assumptions about planetary formation itself. And if our nearest neighbor can still surprise us, what else have we been overlooking, hiding quietly in the cosmic dark? Never expected this near home. If you enjoy what you're about to hear, hit that like button and subscribe, because this discovery adjustments everything we knew about our cosmic neighborhood. December 2023, Project Manage dispatched coordinates to James Webb Space Telescope, not towards a far-off galaxy, now not towards some cosmic mystery billions of miles-years away. They pointed it at Alpha Centauri, 437 light-years from Earth, our closest stellar machine. You may walk there in approximately 80 million years at 3 MF. It's how close it sits. Preceding telescopes skipped it. Hubble barely glanced. Why? Too shiny, too close. Like looking to examine a newspaper whilst gazing a flood light. The glare from 3 stars drowning out the whole lot close by. However, Net operates otherwise. Infrared, imaginative and prescient. It sees heat signatures invisible to human eyes. It sees through dust, through glare, through the cosmic fog that hides secrets and techniques. The primary photo took 14 hours to capture. Scientists predicted habitual facts. Perhaps a clearer photo of Proxima Centauri, the smallest famous person in the device, maybe confirmation of known planets. They got neither. The facts showed some things sudden within the livable region around Proxima. A signature, clean, unmistakable, showed by 3 separate gadgets. Sarah Chen at the European Southern Observatory received the transmission first. She ran the numbers 2 times, then 3 times, then referred to as her manager at 2 within the morning. "We've a trouble," she stated. No longer because the data was wrong, as it turned into proper, and it made no feel. The signature seemed within the mid-infrared spectrum, wavelengths among 5 and 12 micrometers. This range exhibits atmospheric composition, what gases surround a planet, what temperature they keep, what chemistry takes place in that skinny shell among floor and area. Webb detected all of it in detail no person anticipated. Here's what greatly surprised every person. The planet Proxima Centauri b wasn't simply sitting in the livable sector. It confirmed lively atmospheric processing, temperature gradients, pressure versions, warmth distribution patterns that advised climate structures, actual weather, clouds forming, transferring, dissipating, a hydrological cycle. This planet become located returned in 2016, the use of the radial speed approach. Scientists measured tiny wobbles in Proxima's motion as the planet's gravity tugged it. They calculated mass, orbital length, distance from the big name 11, 2 days in line with orbit, 1, 3 times Earth's mass sitting proper, in which liquid water may want to exist. However, they by no means noticed its surroundings until now. The data found out vertical atmospheric structure, one-of-a-kind temperatures at specific altitudes. On the Earth, this occurs due to complicated tactics. Sun heating, gasoline convection, moisture delivery, chemical reactions all running together. Seeing it on Proxima b meant something profound. This world wasn't just a rock in space. It turned into lively dynamic, alive within the geological experience. However, what got here next in the records made scientists query everything they knew approximately this machine. Brightness ruins the entirety in astronomy. Factor a telescope at something too luminous, and you get one element: glare. Alpha Centauri supplied 3 troubles wrapped in a single machine. 3 stars, all blazing, all drowning out any planet seeking to disguise close by. Alpha Centauri shines brighter than our own Celebrity 1, 5 instances greater luminous, 25 trillion miles away, and nevertheless seen to naked eyes from Earth's southern hemisphere. Alpha Centauri b glows nearly as bright. Collectively, they orbit every 80 years, locked in a cosmic dance. Then there's Proxima, the crimson dwarf. Smaller, dimmer, however nevertheless shiny enough to cover Earth-sized planets in its glare. Hubble Space Telescope tried searching in 1995. The photographs showed two vibrant blobs. No planets, no element, simply overwhelming light bleeding. Throughout the sensors, the error couldn't manage it, like aiming a camera at headlights and awaiting to see the automobile behind them. Not possible. Ground-based telescopes fared worse. Earth's environment wobbles. Warmness rising from the floor distorts starlight. Water vapor scatters infrared alerts. By the time light from Alpha Centauri reaches a telescope at the ground, it has been scrambled, blurred, rendered useless for distinct planetary observation. Adaptive optics helped laser manual stars progress decision, but they couldn't pierce the glare. The coronagraph modified matters. This device blocks direct starlight, creating a synthetic eclipse within the telescope. Early versions labored poorly, light scattered round the rims. Diffraction patterns leaked through. The glare discovered methods in. Cutting-edge coronagraphs improved. James Internet carries one in particular designed for infrared wavelengths. It blocks, seen mild, however, lets heat signatures via. Scientists debated for years whether Alpha Centauri deserved remark time. Telescope hours are valuable. Heaps of proposals compete for restrained slots. Why waste time on close-by stars while remote galaxies wait, whilst black holes want reading, whilst cosmic mysteries demand answers? The argument shifted in 2022. Proxima b saved performing in planetary models. PC simulations recommended it maintain onto an atmosphere regardless of stellar flares from its purple dwarf host. Perhaps probable, worth checking. The James Net Group allocated 14 hours, one observation window. Make it rely. They scheduled it at some point of Proxima's quiet period. Red dwarfs flare continuously, erupting with radiation that strips away planetary atmospheres, but they have calm phases, windows when the fury pauses. Webb stuck one of those home windows. Ideal timing, ideal situations, best information. The infrared approach bypassed all preceding issues. Net sees heat, no longer light. It detects the nice and cozy glow of planets themselves, no longer reflected starlight. The coronagraph blocked the three stars. The infrared sensors locked onto cooler targets. And all at once, after decades of blindness, scientists should see what hid in our cosmic outdoor. What they located wasn't simply one planet. It turned into an entire machine extra complicated than all of us imagined. Three stars sharing one device violates the rules. As a minimum, the old guidelines. Before we discovered Alpha Centauri, planetary formation models stated this should not work. An excessive amount of chaos, too many gravitational pulls, too much stellar radiation from more than one resources. Planets want balance to form. They need calm. They want time. Alpha Centauri gives none of these things. Alpha Centauri A and B whip around each other in an elliptical orbit. At closest approach, they take a seat 11 astronomical devices aside. It is approximately the gap from Earth to Saturn. At widest separation, they stretch to 35 astronomical devices, Pluto's distance. This creates a constantly shifting gravitational surroundings. Something looking to shape a planet on this quarter faces continuous disruption. Proxima sits much farther out, 13,000 astronomical units from the crucial pair. Some astronomers question whether or not it is even a part of the device. Maybe it just passes close by. Maybe it orbits as soon as each 500,000 years. Maybe it's gravitationally sure, however barely. Nobody is aware of for certain. This uncertainty topics as it affects planet formation models. When stars form, they disintegrate from clouds of gasoline and dust. The fabric swirls into a disk. Debris collide. They stick collectively slowly over tens of millions of years. They construct planets. But this technique needs consistency. Change the gravitational subject too much and collisions come to be negative rather than constructive. Debris break apart in preference to collect. Three stars imply three gravitational fields, three sources of radiation heating the disk, three stellar winds pushing gas around. PC models from the 2000s stated planets couldn't shape here. The environment changed into too violent. Any planetary embryos could get scattered, ejected, or destroyed before growing big sufficient to keep together. Then we observed Proxima b 2016 radial velocity detection showed 1. 3 Earth hundreds orbiting inside the livable zone. The invention pressured astrophysicists to reconsider the entirety. If one planet exists, maybe others do too. Maybe the chaos isn't chaos. Perhaps it is an exclusive type of order we didn't understand. James Webb's observations found out why planets survived right here. The 3 stars fashioned together, yes, however, Proxima separated early before planets finished forming. This gave every famous person its personal planetary development area. Alpha Centauri A got space to shape planets. Alpha Centauri B were given its personal location. Proxima, a long way from the vital pair, developed its system in relative isolation. However, isolation is relative. Each 79, 9 years, Alpha Centauri A and B swing near together. This creates gravitational waves rippling via the machine. No longer massive disruptions, simply enough to stir matters, enough to clean out certain orbital regions, enough to make planet formation hard, however now not possible. The surviving planets occupy stable zones, secure harbors in a turbulent gadget. NET detected these zones in infrared. Temperature patterns revealed where dirt concentrates, in which gaps seam, where gravitational resonances create shape. The machine looks organized now, but the company came at a price. For every planet that survived, dozens likely were given ejected into interstellar space. The fortunate ones stay, and those fortunate survivors hold extra surprises than each person anticipated. 1. 3 instances Earth's mass 7.5 million km from its megastar orbital duration 11.2 days. Those numbers define Proxima b. They also outline hope due to the fact this world sits precisely where liquid water may want to exist. Not too hot, no longer too cold. The livable sector. Purple dwarfs make habitable zones problematic. They burn cooler than different stars, a great deal cooler. Surface temperature around 3000 Kelvin compared to 5,700 for our personal megastar. This means planets must orbit near live warm, genuinely near. Proxima b huddles near its celebrity like someone standing next to a campfire on a freezing night. 2 aways and also you freeze. This near you chance getting burned. The proximity creates troubles. Tidal locking gravitational forces lock one hemisphere completely towards the celebrity, always day. The opposite hemisphere faces eternal nighttime. Always dark, always frozen. This sample exists during the universe. Our moon suggests the identical face to Earth. Mercury nearly locks to its megastar. Get near sufficient to any large object and rotation stops. Tides win. Scientists debated whether tidal-locked planets should aid life. One face it bakes, the other freezes. Where's the middle floor? Laptop models recommended an answer. Atmosphere. A thick sufficient ecosystem transports warmness. Wind carries warm temperature from the dayside to the night facet. Ocean currents distribute temperature. The planet doesn't want rotation. It needs movement. James Webb saw proof of exactly this. Temperature readings confirmed heat distribution. The dayside measured round 300 Kelvin. Hot, however, now not scorching. The nighttime facet dropped to 230 Kelvin. Cold, however, no longer frozen stable. The terminator sector, the boundary among day and night, held steady round 270 Kelvin, perfect for liquid water. This temperature gradient proved atmospheric delivery. Without an atmosphere, the dayside would roast at 600 Kelvin. The night aspect might plunge to 50 Kelvin. The terminator would be the simplest habitable ring, a slim band circling the planet. But Internet's facts showed something specific. The warmth spread, the bloodless moderated. Something turned into transferring thermal electricity around this global. The planet's mass subjects right here. 1-3 Earth hundreds approach stronger gravity. This gravity enables hold surroundings against stellar winds and radiation. Proxima erupts with flares, X-ray bursts, ultraviolet floods. Each flare strips away atmospheric debris. Lighter planets lose their air fast. Heavier planets preserve on. Proxima b sits proper at the brink, just large enough, simply slightly. Scientists calculated atmospheric retention time scales. How long before stellar flares strip it all away? The numbers got here again sudden. Billions of years, maybe 4 billion, maybe extra if the magnetic area facilitates. This planet had time. Time for chemistry to adapt. Time for tactics to broaden. Time for something unexpected to emerge. However, the real surprise wasn't the planet itself. It changed into what Webb detected within the environment during that first cometary run. Spectroscopy famous reality. Mild passing through an ecosystem gets filtered. Shore wavelengths disappear. Molecules take in unique colors, leaving darkish traces in the spectrum. Examine the one's strains and also you examine the atmospheric composition. You notice what gases float in that alien sky. NET pointed its near-infrared spectrograph at Proxima b for the duration of transit. As the planet crossed in front of its star, starlight filtered through the atmosphere's area. The tool captured that filtered light, analyzed it, broke it into factor wavelength. The ensuing spectrum made scientists prevent respiratory. 3 absorption functions seemed right now 730 nanom, 1 400 nanom, 1 900 nanom. Those wavelengths correspond to precise molecules. The first line suits oxygen and water vapor. The second fits water vapor alone. The 33 fits water vapor and methane collectively. All 3 seem sturdy, clear, unmistakable. Dr. James Peterson at MIT ran the evaluation 4 instances. I kept questioning, we contaminated the information, he said in a later interview. This signature became too easy, too apparent, like the planet desired us to find it. His team checked for instrumental errors. They checked for stellar infection. They checked for cosmic ray hits corrupting the records. Not anything. The signature was actual. Water vapor in an exoplanet environment isn't always shocking anymore. Webb has located it on dozens of worlds. But the amount topics, the concentration, the distribution. Proxima b showed water vapor at 7 elements in line with 1,000 inside the higher surroundings. For assessment, Earth averages 4 parts consistent with 1,000. This planet held greater atmospheric moisture than our personal international. The oxygen line pressured anybody. 2 scenarios create atmospheric oxygen. Chemistry or biology. Chemistry happens on worlds with plenty of ultraviolet mild breaking aside water molecules. The hydrogen escapes to area. The oxygen stays, but Proxima puts out much less ultraviolet than our celebrity. No longer sufficient for green water splitting. But oxygen appeared within the spectrum, showed. The methane complicated things further. Methane and oxygen collectively create a disequilibrium. They react with each other. Given time, they smash every different through chemical reactions. Locating both simultaneously something replenishes them constantly. Something produces those gases quicker than chemistry can dispose of them. On this planet, biology does this. Plants produce oxygen. Microbes produce methane. Life creates the disequilibrium. Chemistry wishes equilibrium. Existence fights towards chemistry. The presence of each gases collectively in sizable concentrations suggests lively replenishment, shows something generating these molecules. However, suggestions aren't evidence. Scientists needed extra records. They wanted affirmation from special devices. They wanted more than one observations. One spectrum could be noise, could be misinterpretation, could be instrumental artifact. The medical method needs skepticism, needs verification. Webb's team scheduled follow-up observations, 6 greater transits over 8 months. Every observation including statistics, each spectrum reinforcing the first. And with every new information set, the thriller deepened. Stellar flares must have stripped this ecosystem bare. Proxima erupts constantly. Every few months, a flare explodes from its floor, radiation surges, X-rays flood the gadget, ultraviolet spikes. Each flare hits Proxima b with sufficient energy to blast away heaps of tons of atmosphere into space. Red dwarfs are violent. They live energetic for trillions of years, erupting and flaring long after different stars relax. Our very own famous person turns into a red massive in the future, then fade to a white dwarf. Proxima will keep burning, keep flaring, hold battering any close-by planets. For angle, Proxima's flares increase its brightness by means of 20%. Believe our superstar all of a sudden getting 20% brighter. The temperature exchange might devastate Earth. Proxima b sits within the blast zone 7, 5 million km away. When a flare erupts, radiation reaches the planet in 25 seconds. No caution, no time to prepare, just impact. The ultraviolet and X-ray flux heats the higher atmosphere. Gasoline molecules advantage energy, pass quicker. A few attain breakout velocity and fly off into space. One particle at a time, the environment have to disappear. Scientists calculated how lengthy Proxima b ought to keep water vapor underneath those situations. The fashion stated 50 million years, maybe 100 million if the planet commenced within giant surroundings. But Proxima b is 5 billion years vintage. The water vapor must be long gone. The surroundings need to be a thin wisp of heavier gases clinging desperately to the floor. Rather, net detected strong concentrations, 7 parts in line with 1,000, thriving continual. Something protects this atmosphere. Some mechanism stops the bleeding. The primary principle involved magnetic fields. Earth's magnetic area deflects solar wind, creates a protective bubble, channels charged debris closer to the poles, creating auroras in preference to atmospheric destruction. Perhaps Proxima b has a comparable protect. The second concept suggested atmospheric replenishment. Perhaps the planet continuously generates new ecosystem, volcanic outgassing, water released from subsurface reservoirs, chemistry producing new molecules to update the ones stripped away, an infinite cycle, loss balanced by means of manufacturing. The 033 concept made humans uncomfortable. Maybe we underestimated stellar flare outcomes. Perhaps the fashions have been incorrect. Perhaps atmospheric escape happens slower than calculated. This principle calls for admitting preceding paintings contained errors. Scientists hate admitting this, but statistics forces honesty. Internet's observations provided clues. At some point of one transit, Proxima erupted with a moderate flare. The telescope caught the event, measured how the atmosphere responded. Did it blow away? Did it compress? Did radiation strip debris into area? The information showed absorption. The upper environment darkened. Heavy molecules rose from underneath, soaking up incoming radiation. Like Earth's ozone layer, blockading ultraviolet. The flare hit. The atmosphere shielded the floor. While the flare subsided, the absorption diminished. The atmosphere again to ordinary. Resilience version protection. This commentary modified the calculation. If the environment actively responds to flares, atmospheric loss quotes drop appreciably. The planet would possibly hold water vapor for billions of years, may hold its atmospheric reservoir intact, might remain habitable in spite of the violence overhead. However, resilience raised new questions. How does a planet broaden such an effective defense? Random threat or something greater planned? Patterns suggest information. Random noise produces chaos. Organized indicators produce structure. Net detected shape within the mid-infrared emissions from Proxima b, a repeating pattern every 2 hours exactly matching the planet's rotation period relative to its orbit. The signal regarded at 4.5 micrometers wavelength. This variety indicates warmth radiation from heat surfaces. Temperature around 350 Kelvin, hotter than the dayside common, warmer than predictions counseled, and it pulsed. Brightness increased for 2 hours, dropped for 2 hours, multiplied again, normal as clockwork. Maria Santos on the Max Planck Institute noticed it first. Idea the instrument was malfunctioning. She said, planets don't pulse, they glow steadily. This seemed artificial. She isolated the sign, eliminated stellar contamination, subtracted history noise. The heartbeat remained strong, clean, real. 3 explanations emerged. First possibility, volcanic activity. Energetic volcanoes produce infrared hotspots. If Proxima b has a big volcanic region rotating inside and out of view, it might create a pulsing signal. Earth's volcanic regions glow in infrared. Hawaii's Kilauea suggests up from space as a bright thermal signature. Scale that as much as planetoid volcanism, and you get substantial pulses. Thin opportunity, atmospheric circulate. Hotspots form where ecosystem and floor engage. Wind styles create temperature versions. On Jupiter, the splendid red spot seems hotter in infrared. On this planet, deserts glow hot while oceans stay cool. If Proxima b has prepared atmospheric circulate, wind would possibly pile warmth into precise areas. Because the planet rotates, these areas seem and disappear from view. Pulse pattern 033 possibility. Something reflective. Perhaps the surface is not uniform. Maybe shore areas replicate greater infrared than others. Ice sheets, metal-rich rocks, crystalline formations. As those areas rotate into view, meditated warmth increases. When they rotate away, the signal drops. Herbal variant, geological variety. But the precision troubled every person. 2 hours exactly, no version. Pulsars show this precision because they may be neutron stars with stable crusts rotating at regular pace. Planets don't paintings that way. Atmospheric dynamics shift. Volcanic activity fluctuates. Floor functions erode. Not anything remains perfectly normal over months of observation. Internet watched for 8 months. The pulse by no means shifted, in no way weakened, by no means changed segment. 1/800 rotations, 1/800 pulses, exactly on agenda. This consistency suggested something strong, something permanent, something anchored to the planet's rotation. The team proposed a fourth rationalization. No one desired to mention it formally. However, in non-public conversations, over espresso, all through past due night records analysis sessions, people whispered it. What if the sign wasn't natural? What if it was engineered? What if something on that world generates infrared pulses deliberately? Dr. Santos disregarded the idea publicly. We want greater facts before thinking about exceptional causes, she advised reporters, but privately she saved reading, saved searching out patterns in the pattern, kept questioning what might produce such perfect regularity, because even stranger discoveries have been waiting in the facts. Magnetism protects existence. Earth's magnetic area deflects sun radiation, shields our atmosphere, prevents cosmic rays from sterilizing the surface. Without it, sun wind would strip away our air within some 100 million years. We'd seem like Mars, dry, lifeless, barren. Proxima b desires a magnetic subject, even more desperately than Earth. Stellar flares from Proxima bring charged particles, radiation storms that make our worst solar climate appearance gentle. Without magnetic safety, atmospheric stripping hurries up. With safety, a planet can continue to exist billions of years of bombardment. The difference among habitable and dead. Webb could not measure magnetic fields immediately. Magnetism would not show up in optical or infrared light. You need specialized devices, radio telescopes, polarization detectors, system that reads how magnetic fields twist mild and charged debris. But Internet noticed the outcomes, the fingerprints magnetism leaves behind. During one observation, Proxima erupted with a vast flare. Elegance M, powerful, sufficient to growth stellar brightness via 15%. The charged particle wave reached Proxima b in seconds. Webb watched what came about next. The planet's ecosystem answered. Auroras erupted no longer just on the poles, throughout the entire dayside. Auroras shape whilst charged particles hit atmospheric gases. The debris observe magnetic area traces in the world. They funnel closer to the poles due to the fact our area directs them there. The mild indicates appear in earrings around the Arctic and Antarctic, but Proxima b display specific conduct. The auroras spread throughout the entire hemisphere facing the famous person, a glowing shield. This pattern suggests a sturdy, extensive magnetic area, more potent than Earth's, perhaps 3 times more potent, perhaps 5 times. The field doesn't just deflect particles, it absorbs them, channels them into the top atmosphere, where they devise this mind-blowing show. The complete dayside lighting fixtures up like a neon signal. Scientists calculated what this requires. A planet wishes things for a sturdy magnetic subject, a liquid steel center and rotation. Earth's iron center spins, producing a dynamo impact. Liquid metal shifting through magnetic fields creates electric-powered currents. These currents make stronger the magnetic area. The sector influences the metal. Feedback loop self-sustaining. But Proxima b is tidally locked, it doesn't rotate. One aspect constantly faces the famous person. No rotation way, no traditional dynamo. So how does it generate this type of powerful field? The models struggled with this. They required amendment. Perhaps tidal flexing replaces rotation. Maybe the planet's core sloshes to and fro as it orbits. Maybe gravitational squeezing from Proxima generates sufficient internal movement. Perhaps the magnetic discipline defined numerous mysteries. Why water vapor persists no matter stellar flares. The field deflects the worst radiation. Why oxygen doesn't get stripped away at once. Magnetic safety slows the loss. Whilst the atmosphere remains thick enough to transport warmness across the planet without regular bombardment, destroying the higher layers, the environment keeps stress. This discovery improved Proxima b from interesting to extraordinary. A tidally locked planet with energetic magnetic safety. A international that shouldn't retain its ecosystem however does. A place where the regulations bend however don't damage. And magnetic safety intended something else, something profound. If charged particles from stellar flares cannot sterilize the floor, then complexity can increase. Chemistry can evolve without regular interruption. Existence, if it exists, can persist without getting fried every few weeks. The window of possibility opened wider, but magnetic fields were not the handiest safety this planet displayed. Astronomers overlooked it for years. Proxima C orbits farther out 5 astronomical gadgets from the big name. It really is approximately the gap between Mars and our famous person. At this range, temperatures drop significantly. Floor conditions reach 150 Kelvin. Frozen, opposed, but real. The planet found out itself through gravitational tugs. When a planet orbits, it pulls its celebrity barely. The superstar wobbles. Specific measurements detect those wobbles. Scientists determined anomalies in Proxima's movement. Something larger than Proxima b became pulling. Something with greater mass, something farther out. Preliminary estimates recommended 7 Earth masses, a first-rate Earth or mini-Neptune. Orbital duration 2 years, it's 1900 days, lengthy enough that previous observations hadn't caught an entire orbit. The planet become gambling hide-and seeking for with detection methods. But James Webb does not need entire orbits. It sees immediately. It captures infrared emissions from the planet itself. Internet's observations showed the planet, measured its temperature, analyzed pondered light from Proxima hitting its environment. The information showed something surprising: atmospheric absorption traces. This wasn't a barren rock, it had an environment. At temperatures wherein gases ought to freeze stable, this world maintained a gaseous envelope. How? The answer involved greenhouse heating, carbon dioxide and methane warmness. On Proxima C, these gases create an envelope that keeps thermal power. The planet's surface might be frozen, however the environment stays enormously warm. Temperature inversions form, bloodless floor, hotter top environment. Odd however strong. The planet's composition puzzled researchers. Models recommended it shaped as an ice giant. Water ice, methane ice, ammonia ice. But its contemporary position sits in the system's frost line, the boundary inner which water remains liquid or vapor for the duration of formation. This supposed the planet migrated inward, started out farther out, moved nearer over tens of millions of years. Gravitational interactions with Proxima b in all likelihood brought on this, the two planets exchanging momentum, the outer one moving in, the internal one adjusting its orbit slightly. Internet detected something else round Proxima C, a ring device, faint, composed of ice debris and dust. The earrings make bigger from 40,000 to 80 Lowson kilometers from the planet. They're thin, slightly substantive, but they scatter infrared mild in predictable patterns, showed rings. This discovery doubled the recognized planets within the Proxima gadget. From one global to 2, from one doubtlessly livable area to a more complex photograph. Proxima C could not aid life as we know it. Too bloodless, too much stress, too remote from the superstar, but it performed a role. Gravitational interactions among the planets stabilized their orbits, created resonances, averted chaotic modifications that might destabilize the gadget. The presence of a second planet raised an obvious question. If 2 planets exist, why not more? Why not a third global hiding within the facts? Why not an entire machine ready to be observed? Scientists started searching out planet number 3, and what they found wasn't a planet in any respect. Alpha Centauri A is 4 billion years antique, ancient by means of stellar standards. When a celeb reaches this age, its particles disk have to be long gone, cleared out, swept easy through planetary formation or stellar winds. Best mature planets have to remain. Earth orbits a similarly elderly famous person. We have no particles disk, simply 8 planets and scattered asteroids. Webb pointed at Alpha Centauri A for the duration of a separate remark run. The purpose become attempting to find planets directly. Big fuel giants reflecting starlight. The coronagraph blocked the star's glare. The infrared sensors scanned the surrounding space. They discovered no giant planets, however they observed something unexpected: dirt. Infrared emission at 20 micrometers indicated warm dirt grains. Temperature around 200 Kelvin. Dirt this warm sits close to the star among 1 and 3 astronomical units. Exactly where rocky planets form. This dust shouldn't exist. 4 billion years of collisions ought to have cleared it away or pulled it into planets. The dirt distribution showed shape, now not a uniform cloud, wonderful bands and gaps. Something became organizing this material. Gravitational resonances from unseen planets or something else. The gaps regarded at specific distances: 0, 8 astronomical gadgets, 1, 4 astronomical units, 2, 3 astronomical units, mathematical precision. Scientists calculated how much dirt existed. The total mass got here out to 1/120th of Earth's mass. It truly is a variety of material, an excessive amount of leftover primordial dust. This required energetic replenishment. Something became producing new dust constantly. Collisions between asteroids. Comets breaking apart. A planet forming now. 4 billion years after the big name ignited. That violated every planetary formation idea. Planets form in the first 10 million years of a star's lifestyles. After that, the disk dissipates. Cloth gets locked into planets or blown away. Overdue formation does not take place, cannot occur. Except the disk were given replenished. Maybe a collision ejected cloth recently. Perhaps 2 planets smashed collectively inside the ultimate million years. The particles from one of these collisions might spread into a disk. The warmth from the star might heat it. We would see precisely what Webb detected. A young disk, round and vintage famous person. The group looked for proof of new collision, huge particles, chunks, asymmetric styles, thermal anomalies. They determined none. The disk seemed easy, prepared, antique no matter being younger. Paradox piled on paradox. Another rationalization involved captured material. Maybe Alpha Centauri grabbed a rogue planet or large asteroid from interstellar space. Perhaps gravitational tides ripped it apart. The particles might settle into a disk. Time scales work higher. Capture could have came about 10,000 years in the past, 100,000 years in the past. Latest on cosmic time scales, however, nevertheless historical through human requirements. The presence of this disk modified search strategies. If fabric orbits Alpha Centauri are between 1 and 3 astronomical devices, planets would possibly conceal there too. Small planets Earth-sized rocky worlds misplaced in the dirt and glare. Webb's instruments can hit upon them in the event that they transit throughout the megastar. If they bypass Among Us and Alpha Centauri A, starlight dims slightly. Measure that dimming and you find the planet. Scientists scheduled 6 months of continuous tracking. Looking for transits, watching for dips in brightness, looking for something uncommon. They observed something uncommon, but it wasn't what all people anticipated. Debris does not orbit backward. The entirety in a planetary machine rotates the identical course counterclockwise if regarded from above Earth's north pole. This happens because systems shape from spinning clouds. The cloud's rotation course determines the entirety afterward. Planets inherit that movement. Asteroids follow. Comets obey. All transferring collectively, all flowing the identical manner. Net's observations of Alpha Centauri A's debris disk discovered exceptions. 3 massive fragments shifting clockwise, retrograde orbits towards the flow. Impossible except something through them there. The fragments measured among 50 and 200 km throughout. Small by means of planetary requirements, huge by asteroid standards, each one glowing in infrared from absorbed starlight, every one visiting at the wrong perspective, every one defying the rules. Dockett, Jonathan Kim at Caltech analyzed the trajectories. These gadgets don't simply move backward. He said they're in perfectly circular orbits. No eccentricity, no wobble like a person positioned them precisely. Hubble sees normally creates elliptical paths. Items falling into a system from interstellar area arrive at random angles. They follow chaotic trajectories. These 3 fragments showed none of that chaos. The round orbit counseled gravitational interaction. Maybe a close come-upon with a huge planet changed their paths, slowed them down, circularized their motion. However, that calls for precision, calls for a planet in precisely the proper role, calls for timing measured in years or decades. Getting 3 items to comply with this route by means of chance tactics impossibility. Any other rationalization concerned collisions. Maybe the fragments got here from a bigger frame that were given destroyed. Whilst planets collide, particles flies everywhere. A few portions flow ahead, some pass backward, a few break out the device totally, but collision debris creates elliptical orbits, not circular, not organized like this. The third explanation made human beings uncomfortable. What if the fragments weren't herbal? What if something positioned them? The concept sounds absurd, however the facts pressured consideration. 3 gadgets, 3 ideal circles, 3 retrograde paths. The statistical chance of herbal formation drops beneath 1 in 10 million. Webb studied the fragment's composition. Spectroscopy revealed surface substances, silicates, iron oxides, carbon compounds, regular asteroid composition. Nothing wonderful, nothing that screamed artificial starting place. But composition would not decide how something were given wherein it's miles. It just tells you what it's product of. The crew looked for comparable